Good evening, everyone. This is Atmospheric Alex here, and welcome to another update on this historic winter storm that's going to be heading through the central and into the eastern U.S. As you can see by the thumbnail, we are anticipating a very damaging ice storm to occur, likely going to be a little bit off to the south of this particular model here, but very intense impacts, dare I say it. Even localized deadly impacts are going to be possible, as an inch to maybe even an inch and a half of ice is going to be possible in areas that don't typically see ice at all. As we take a really quick look at our analysis data, we have a lot of snow currently streaming across portions of the Great Lakes, a pretty intense snow squall associated with a ton of lake effect snow up there in Lake Erie and Ontario. And as we take a large look at our alert map right now, you can see winter storm warnings covering the entirety of the central United States, or at least in your southern plains areas there. And then everywhere else in between, look at that, winter storm watches spreading into some of those areas as well. Then off to the north, we do have extreme cold warnings, I do believe, up in those areas. Let me just check and make sure. Yes, extreme cold warnings. We're going to have wind chills down to negative 60 degrees in some isolated locations. That is going to be very dangerous. As we take a look at our winter storm severity index, they have in fact uptrended tomorrow's risk. We now have a couple of pockets of major impact here across Texas, Arkansas, and portions of Louisiana, where significant icing is going to be expected, though more on Saturday. And as for Saturday, look at this. This is the largest area of impact I have ever seen tracking weather I have ever seen in my entire life. Look at this. Everywhere in the red colors here, you really do need to pay attention. You're in the major impact area, some areas back here, and then up here as well. But take a look. I'm going to zoom all the way in for this one. All the way down here into portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, you are under an extreme impact. A level 4 out of 4 on the weather impact scale. That is very significant. This is where we could be talking about historic ice totals for some areas. Potentially, like I said, even some catastrophic ice totals there. Now, as we go ahead and check out the European model here, in terms of its precipitation, you can see freezing rain starting and even some snow starting in portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas as we head into tomorrow night. Timings are going to be right up here where my mouse is. I hope you all can see that just fine. If I had more time, I'd edit that to make it a little bit bigger. Very heavy snow moving across Arkansas. Look at that. Tons of freezing rain to the south, tons of snow to the north. That moves on through, and this is going to set the stage for catastrophic ice totals, across portions of, say, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi down here. You may even need to watch out in portions of West Tennessee as well, though I do think you're going to stay as sleet in a lot of those areas. Look at all that icing. We're talking about icing starting tomorrow morning and running all the way through Sunday afternoon. That, my folks, is a long duration event. As we head over to our eastern viewing area, you could see our icing. The European model, really intense though, on the threat of icing in West Tennessee. Again, I do think kind of along this line here is going to mainly be sleet. However, to the south of that is where you're going to see all your icing occur. Look at your cold air damming regions. Back within here, you're going to have a lot of northeast flow behind your Appalachian Mountains, funneling in a ton of surface cold air. And we're going to be talking about crippling ice accumulations across those areas. This is a very dangerous storm, folks. As we move on off to the north here, for our New England risk here, look at this. Extremely heavy snow. We're talking about potentially thunder snow out of this. 2 to 3 inch per hour snowfall rates are going to be likely going into Pennsylvania and the rest of the Northeast. And it is an all-out major snowstorm for these areas. Upwards of 2 feet of snow is going to be possible for some locations. And that moves on out very slowly. And it's still snowing by Tuesday morning. This is a humongous event. What does our GFS say in terms of this? It is a lot further south than the European model, interestingly enough. I do believe it's sleet depictions are a lot more accurate than the European model, but you can see heavy snow in northwest Tennessee. Look at that, a lot of heavy snow. We'll get into that more when we go east. But that swath of crippling freezing rain down there, it's going to be difficult to determine where your sleet and your freezing rain exactly set up. Look at all of your sleet. It's going to be a sleet bomb across some areas of the south. And then, of course, your freezing rain. That's just a major concern as well. As we head off to our eastern viewing area, you can see West Tennessee getting absolutely pummeled, getting pounded with snow there for a very long period of time. I mean, it barely actually transitions to sleet before it transitions back over to snow again. Isn't that crazy? But looking at some of the other areas, look at all your icing across East Tennessee. Again, your cold air damming regions down here, kind of behind your Appalachian Mountains, all that air funneling on through. But East Tennessee, according to the GFS, not a forecast, could see crippling ice totals. This is very significant. Look at Atlanta, Georgia. These are some of the heaviest ice rates I've ever seen on a model run printed out. Never in my life, again, have I seen ice rates of this significance. But the good news is if the ice is coming down as a downpour, it's not really going to stick too well, right? Think about it, downpouring rain, you're going to have some runoff, so perhaps your ice totals will be cut in half. Look at, oh my gosh, that swath of ice across South Carolina, North Carolina. That moves on out. This storm, man, this is a big one to track, isn't it? Into your New England areas here, very, very heavy snow. Keeps it as all snow, even for New York City. This is a big old bona fide nor'easter. Yeah, you can call this a nor'easter. You got your low pressure off the coast and just churning in tons of snow. Again, 2 feet are going to be possible for someone. This is your National Weather Service's snow and ice forecasts here from each individual National Weather Service office. And this is going to take a while to get through. Hopefully you all don't get bored, but it's very important that we kind of list as many towns as humanly possible so people can get the information. This is from National Weather Service of Goodland, Kansas. We're talking about quite a lot of snow for some areas. Look at that, 4 to 7 inches down there in Hayes and other surrounding areas there. And we're just going to kind of keep progressing through the graphics. This is going to be, look at this here, for portions of the Oklahoma Panhandle, around 3 to 6 inches. Woodward, Oklahoma, 5 to 9 inches. So quite a lot of snow across some of these areas here. Lubbock, Texas here, 2 to 6 inches. Man, I can't believe you're getting a winter storm that far south, right? And you can see other areas up here. Look at that, upwards of 6 to around 7 inches in some of those areas there. And as we head into your icing, Lubbock is not too keen on your icing threat. However, 1/10 of an inch is still a lot of icing, and you can see it kind of all through these areas right within here. That is going to be rather significant, and it's going to turn your roads into a bit of an ice rink. Then moving south, you could see for San Angelo, Texas, potentially around a trace to an inch of snow. We're very uncertain on our snow totals down here. And then you can see, again, our icing is going to be very serious. Upwards of 1/2 an inch of ice is going to be possible for Abilene, Texas there. Look at that, Sterling City, Bollinger. This is going to be quite a significant impact. And I do believe on this as well, actually, I don't have that graphic up, but we're trying to save time, right? Kansas City, 4 to 8 inches of snow. Holy cow. Manhattan, Kansas, 4 to 8 inches. Topeka, 4 to 9 inches. Emporia, 5 to 10 inches. Our snow has been shifting a little bit south in recent model runs. That's probably why. Wichita, 6 to 10 inches there. It is going to be snowing like crazy out there for sure. And look at northern Oklahoma. Over 1 foot of snow is going to be possible for some isolated locations near Enid, Stillwater, Tulsa, 6 to 12 inches of snow. Very bona fide system right there. OKC, we're talking around 5 to 10 inches. So again, it could trend a little lower, it could trend a little higher. Just depends on your north and south trends. We're watching that very closely like a hawk on our model data. Then you can see our freezing rain totals. Take a look at that. Not much for Oklahoma City, but a little further south, Ardmore around a quarter of an inch of ice, Lawton around a quarter of an inch of ice. That's going to be very serious. Anything over a tenth of an inch is actually considered significant. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, imagine laying a tenth of an inch of a sheet of ice on top of a surface. That is going to get very slippery and is actually going to weigh things down a lot as well. We'll get into that when we get into our cripple zone. And you can see some snow is going to be possible. Look at that. Dallas, Fort Worth, around a half an inch to 2 inches of snow. Pretty impressive there if you ask me. Again, I'm going through these quickly. If you have to pause the video, then please do so and find your location on the map. Now we're taking a look at higher ice totals here. Around a half an inch for Dallas. Longview, Texas, 3/4 of an inch. That is honestly starting to get a bit damaging, folks. Seeing that much ice, locations that are not used to it, that's a problem. Hamilton, around 6/10 of an inch of ice there. It is going to get dangerous out there pretty quickly. Here is your high-end totals, your 10% chance here. But it's important to look at this because the National Weather Service has actually been trending towards some of these higher end totals because our models have just been uptrending constantly. Take a look at this, your highest end scenario here. Abilene around 6/10 of an inch. Cisco around 7/10 of an inch. That's brutal, right? Canton around an inch of ice. That is very damaging there. Longview 1.07. That is very damaging as well. Mount Pleasant, 1.25 inches. Holy cow, that is going to cause significant damage. A lot of power outages will result from the icing. Further to the south, Kerrville, Texas, around 1/4 of an inch of ice. Maybe some for San Antonio as well. We'll have to wait and see. And then going back up north. So as you can tell, we're starting up north, working south, shifting over, going north, working our way south, shifting over again. That's how I'm doing this. 4 to 8 inches for Kansas. We already went over that. Other portions of Missouri getting quite a bit of snow as well. As we go further south, our totals only increase. Springfield, Missouri, 6 to 12 inches. Gainesville, 7 to 12. Eureka, 7 to 13 inches. Wow, that's a lot of snow. Jefferson City, 5 to 9 inches. So this is considered the fun side of your system, if you will. You're not going to have too many issues in that snow, right? As we shift on off here, Fort Smith, Arkansas, 3 to 7 inches. Fayetteville, Arkansas, 7 to 12 inches. And Hot Springs, 1/2 inch to 4 inches. We get a lot more uncertain the further south we go. That's how it usually is. And some of your icing creeping in. Mena, Arkansas, around 1/10 of an inch of ice. Pretty significant. Look at this for Little Rock, 1/2 inch to 4 inches of snow. I actually wouldn't be shocked if that goes a little higher if models keep trending further and further south. Pine Bluff, 0 to 4 inches. You might not see any snow at all, or you could see 4 inches. That's hilarious. And then we're going to head on off into our ice accumulations. Yes, I know you all see this down here. This is very serious. 1 inch of ice for Greenville. 1.1 for Greenwood. This is an official National Weather Service forecast, folks. Over 1 inch of ice is very damaging. Actually, that's catastrophic levels of icing. So that is very serious. Texarkana around 1/2 inch. Here, holy cow. The first time I saw this, I almost jumped out of my chair. This is your high end here. Nearly 2 inches of ice. 2 inches for Clarksdale. This is not a model run. This is a National Weather Service forecast, folks. 2 inches. That is deadly amounts of ice right there. Do not go outside. Do not go anywhere. Look at this. 1.25 inches for Memphis. That would be really bad. 1.5 inches for Pine Bluff. Just these totals are outrageous. Again, this is your high-end scenario. We're going to be seeing a lot of overrunning, a lot of training of our intense convection across this area. And with surface temperatures below freezing, this could lead to a deadly situation in some of these areas. You need to really keep your eyes on the local forecast and stay very vigilant in this situation. Further south, we're talking about some snow as well, but not as much. But our icing is going to be serious. Nearly 9/10 of an inch of ice for Shreveport. That's very serious. You already saw this over here, right? And yeah, take a look at all that icing. Natchitoches around 1/2 inch. Wow. Vicksburg around 1/2 inch. you do not see this that often. This is a very rare, exceptionally rare event, as I would say. And again, if you're in these areas, you need to prepare right now. You need to go to the store, and you probably should have already, and you need to grab essential supplies, non-perishable food items. Then again, you may be able to grab items that require a freezer because the freezer is outside, right? It's kind of a bad joke at this time, but yeah, temperatures falling potentially in your single digits, that's your outdoor freezer, and maybe that'll work for some things, right? Further off to the south, this is National Weather Service of Lake Charles. I can't believe we're down here. Alexandria, around 2/10 of an inch of ice here. DeRidder, around 2/10 of an inch. Now, here we go, working back up north, and we keep shifting off, to the right. That's how this is going. 5 to 9 inches for downtown St. Louis. That's pretty crazy. 6 to 11 inches for Cape Girardeau there. And, all other areas. This is going to be a pretty good jackpot zone, I think, for your snow. Especially here. Evansville, 7 to 14 inches. Holy cow, that's a lot of snow. For sure. Yeah, you're going to be in the crush zone when it comes to our snow totals. Mayfield, Kentucky, 4 to 8 inches. Paducah, 5 to 10. Yeah, we'll get down there in just a minute. I know you all are excited. 5 to 12 for Poplar Bluff over there. Wow, this is going to be a lot of snow in that area. Our expected ice accumulations, we're not talking about too much. Well, I guess, 1/10 of an inch, 2/10 of an inch is still quite a lot. However, this has disagreement between National Weather Service offices, so maybe not take this too seriously yet. As we head further off to the south here, around Fulton and Martin, 3 to 7 inches of snow. Yes, I know, we're expecting a lot of snow here, at least by me, and I know you all are very excited. We're talking about 1 to 6 for Dyersburg. We'll have to see how far south this snow line gets, because a trace to 4 inches for Memphis. We're going to have to wait and see. And then our icing, very, very serious again. 1/2 inch for Memphis. However, if things shift north, oh my gosh, it's going to end really badly for some of you all. Look at this here. Tupelo, over an inch of ice. Corinth, around over an inch of ice. Oxford, an inch of ice. This is as serious as it gets, folks. Again, very catastrophic impacts are possible in those areas. Here is your, your 1 in 10 chance probabilities. And it really speaks for itself. I really don't want to say anything else other than prepare now. And if you haven't prepared, it's almost too late. Further south, Yazoo City. Oh, gosh, look at that. 1/2 inch of ice. I mean, I still can't get over the fact that we're seeing these dark purple colors on the official forecast. I've never seen that before, ever. This is insane. 1 in 10 chance, around an inch for Yazoo City, 3/4 of an inch for Vicksburg. I'm slurring my words here. This is outrageous. I mean, it can't really get much more serious than this. I'm telling you what. Further off to the south here, you can see Alexandria, around 2/10 of an inch of ice, but nothing too much for New Orleans, obviously. I mean, that's too far south. Louisville, Kentucky, 8 to 13 inches of snow. For Lexington, 7 to 13. This is, again, in your crush zone in terms of snow. This hasn't been updated since 4 in the morning. I'm not sure why, but we're talking about around 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch of ice here in southern Kentucky. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Any southern trends would take some of these areas out of the picture, so very uncertain there. Nashville, in terms of our snow, 1 to 4 inches. I'm not sure if I'm buying that. I'll be completely honest, but we'll wait and see. I think with southward shifts, this will be reliable, but the current data, not really. We're talking around 3 inches for Cookeville there and around Crossville as well. Fortunately, Nashville doesn't have any ice products. Not sure why. Further off to the south, thank goodness we're going to see a warm nose right here, so we're not going to see much icing in, say, Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. May actually be bringing up some just good old rain, maybe even a thunderstorm or two in your area. Talking around for snow up here, 8 to 12 inches for Cincinnati, 7 to 11 for Dayton, 7 to 11 for Columbus. Ohio is quickly becoming a part of the crush zone when it comes to snow. If you're a snow lover up there, you're probably really happy right now. 2 to 7 inches of snow in Hazard, Kentucky there. Pikeville, 2 to 6 inches. London, 3 to 9 inches in those areas there. But we're going to head a little further south. Not quite yet. But wow, look at this. 3/10 to 4/10 of an inch. Even 1/2 inch of icing possible across southeastern Kentucky. Yeah, you thought you all were far enough north, but thought wrong. It's definitely going to be icy there. Here we go. For some more of my localized folks, this is the National Weather Service of Morristown's snow forecast. Around a half an inch of snow possible. I would not take this fully into consideration quite yet. Around, 1 to 3 inches for La Follette up here, Oneida as well. Portions of Morristown around a half an inch as well. A lot of, I would say, mid-level valley transport wind is going to be moving through your area. That is why it's going to be just a tad bit warmer and less snow chances. And same thing for your icing. Again, valley transport right up through here is really going to cut down on your ice totals. Could see temperatures, really just above freezing through these areas. So this is some fantastic news for you all in East Tennessee and some of your areas. You can see some very particular valley locations will probably get more icing than others, say in Sevier County. Around 0.2 of an inch in Morristown, 0.2 of an inch in Knoxville. Looking for the plateau. 3/4 of an inch in some isolated pockets. Good gracious. And then, other areas pretty much the same as well. Your 1 in 10 chance, still see your valley transport effect here. But outside of those areas, wow, you have a high ceiling. Half an inch of ice possible for Knoxville, maybe Morristown. Again, power outages is going to be a serious concern, believe it or not. Okay, and I promise you we're almost done with this. Up here in National Weather Service Blacksburg, 1 to 6 inches for Martinsville, 4 to 10 inches of snow, not ice, of snow. I need to clarify that. For portions of Roanoke there. Look at your wintergreen, around 20 inches of snow is possible. That's another hot spot. That little red area right within there, kind of poking out of the screen. Pretty cool. And you can see, just kind of other areas in your mountains. You get the idea. I don't need to spend too much time. You can see your ice, Martinsville, 0.3 of an inch. Oh my gosh. And areas further south, we're going to get to that in a minute. And you're not going to be excited. Trust me. Let's look at the light fluffy stuff first, so before we get into the really bad news, right? This is for the Greenville-Spartanburg area. Around maybe half an inch of snow for Charlotte. Please do not hold me to that. I know you all just don't get snow anymore in those areas, so yeah, I'm going to be careful with what I say. Greenville-Spartanburg, maybe a half an inch as well of snow. But your real threat is the icing. Half an inch of ice across Asheville being possible. Very, very serious in West North Carolina for sure. And some of your valley locations could see 3/4 of an inch to over an inch of ice. Be very, very careful. Portions of northeastern Georgia and portions of southwestern North Carolina. Going to be very serious out there in some areas. Spartanburg, half an inch. Greenville, 0.6 of an inch. Wow. Again, just absolutely ridiculous. And look at down here for Atlanta, Georgia, around 1/4 of an inch of ice. But wait till I show you the 1 in 10 chance. Boom, there it is. Look at that. An inch, over an inch for Greenville, over an inch for Gainesville, 0.7 of an inch for Atlanta, the downtown metro area of Atlanta, Georgia. You cannot handle winter weather in that city, so you need to prepare now. Jasper, maybe 0.8 of an inch. Again, this is your highest end amounts, but our models have been favoring this a little bit, so we need to really watch closely. And your cold air damming, if it gets really far south here, we are going to be talking about a lot of significant issues across the board. Moving on through to Raleigh, majority of your areas are going to see 0.3 to 0.4 of an inch of ice, so this is definitely going to increase. 1 in 10 chance, just forget about it. Look at this. Over 3/4 of an inch to even an inch of ice in a lot of areas. This is very, very dangerous, folks. This is catastrophic levels of icing being possible, not likely, but being possible for a large swath of central North Carolina, including Raleigh and Durham. That's definitely going to cause issues. Charlotte creeping in on an inch. If that happens, boy, oh boy. Not much snow for you all. Kind of a meme at this point, right? You don't see snow there either. And you don't see snow down here, but you are going to see ice. Around 1/4 of an inch of ice for Columbia, South Carolina. And you can see all these other areas as well as follows. All right, and with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Hope you found this informative and very life-saving. If you did, please smash the like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, share this video with friends, family, and social media. They are going to need it. You need to share as much as humanly possible. And also leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you thought of the thumbnail, because I really did not want to put the D word in here, but look at this and tell me right now that is honestly stuff you've not seen in a long time, potentially even in your lifetime. That's nothing to mess with. Everyone, stay extremely safe in this exceptionally rare event, and please stay extraordinarily weather aware out there. Have a wonderful night, everyone.